Welcome back to another edition of History in Your Own Backyard. I'm Danielle, and today we'll be exploring the ghost towns of the Morrow, Ohio area. Come on, I'll show you all around. On the Little Miami River, opposite the mouth of Todd's Fork, once stood the town of Fredericksburg. It was laid out in 1818 by Nathan Howe, and it contained 14 lots. At one time, it featured 2 dry goods stores and had a reputation of a town with a considerable amount of trade. In 1815, one of the first bridges in the county was built at this location. The town of Millgrove was located about 2 miles south of Fort Ancient, on the western shore of the Little Miami River. A paper mill began operating here as early as 1815. And a post office operated between 1832 and 1845. The town also contained a grist mill, a sawmill, and a dry goods store. Once the Miami Canal was built in the 1840s, the paper mill closed due to fierce competition from other mills along the canal. Eventually, the town disappeared. On the east side of the Little Miami River, opposite the town of Millgrove, stood the tiny village of Hammel, also known as Blue Shin. Hammel began as a town around 1844, when the railroad was constructed. A few families farmed about 100 acres here, while their children attended a nearby school which lasted until the 1890s. The nickname for the town, Blue Shin, has 2 possible origins. 1. Rumor had it that wading across the river here was so cold that your shins would turn blue. 2 was that people walking up the hill in the winter would slip so many times that their shins would bruise and turn blue by the time they got to the top. Just north of Hammel stood Senior Powdermill, which can be found right along the Little Miami Bright Trail. The town was founded in 1904 by Edward Senior, who was an ammunition merchant from Cincinnati. The mill made gunpowder during World War I and also powder for miners and clearing land. The town was large enough to feature a small hotel, school, and a number of houses. Several buildings and foundations from former buildings can still be seen today. Mount Station was settled in 1795 by 6 families from Virginia, including William Mounts. It was located against Stubbs Mill Road, just a half-mile north of present-day Routes 22 and 3. This was probably the first settlement in the county. The families built their cabins around a large spring. You can find the formal settlement today on the west side of the road, where a boulder is located. Osceola was laid out in June 1838 on lands owned by Louis Fairchild and Benjamin Baldwin on the Goshen and Wilmington Turnpike, which is now State Route 132. 41 lots were laid out on either side of the turnpike, including 2 streets and an alley, which are now gone. The Sugar Run Baptist congregation began in 1872. The church building was constructed in 1890 from an old Quaker church near Ogonia, Ohio, that was disassembled and moved to this location. Windsor, also known as Level Station, is about 3 miles east of Butlerville on Morrow-Woodsville Road. In the mid-1800s, it had a general store, grain warehouse, and post office. It's located on the old Marietta and Cincinnati Railroad.